Welcome to Sober Talk. I'm Dennis and I have lived experience of alcohol. If you or anyone you know is struggling with alcohol, please call Alcoholics Anonymous on 1300 222222 or check out their website on aa.org.au. I'll just run through the preamble of Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other. They must solve their common problems and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses or opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety.
Hi, my name's Ivan and I'm an alcoholic. I picked up a drink at the age of 14, 15 and I drank it fairly quickly and it came up just about as quickly. And all I can remember from way back then was that I was kicked out of the car that I was travelling in and hugging a Stobie pole and just puking my insides out. And you'd think an experience like that would maybe make you think twice about having a second drink. But it didn't. All it really did was, so I thought, taught me that wine wasn't for me. It was a red wine. So I drank beer throughout my teens. And it always seemed that whenever I drank, I got drunk. But I never thought of it. And throughout my drinking, there were many times that I would question why I was in such a position with DUIs, jail time. But I would never question the drinking. It was always something else. I used to think maybe it was the people I was drinking with, or maybe it was the pub that I was drinking in, or maybe it was the actual alcohol. Maybe if I changed it from beer to spirits, or maybe it was the gin. It was always something, always trying to give myself an excuse so I could go back drinking. But never actually realising that. I carried on drinking for the majority of my life up until I was 46 years old. In that time I acquired 4 DUIs and the last DUI was 3.5 years without licence. And the first year of that I drank and drove because I couldn't stop drinking. Whenever I was drinking I had to have more, and when I wasn't drinking I just thought about drinking. It was a merry-go-round. It was a constant getting the money to get the drink, to get drunk, to get over being drunk, to get the money, and it just kept going and going. I heard a man in recovery once say that the more he drank, the thirstier he got. I related to that. I know when I started really heavy drinking and the binge drinking was getting closer together when I started it, around about 26. So therefore drank for a solid, as an alcoholic, for 20 years. At that time, at 26, I was married, had a full-time job, had 2 kids, a mortgage, 2-house garage, 2 cars. And by the time I finished drinking at 46, I was on the street. I'd lost absolutely everything. And the main thing that I lost was my self-esteem and my self-worth. I was worth nothing. I was worthless, useless, hopeless. when I came into recovery. And I came in sort of like through a back door. I got in contact with Lifeline and they were no help. They said all my problems stem from drinking, so I needed to address that, but that wasn't helping me with all my life problems that I had. Wasn't ready to address my drinking. It didn't seem any way out. The drinking was getting worse. The results of drinking were getting worse. And what I was chasing, the effect that I was chasing, just wasn't there anymore. And I'd done a fair few detoxes, which was good for detoxing the body, but it did nothing about the mind. So therefore, physically, I would improve, but I still had the same head, the same way of thinking, the same thoughts, same way of dealing with life. And really, most of my latter years of drinking, I was just escaping. On my final detox, I said to them that it just wasn't working and I needed something more. And they got a couple of different counsellors to come down and assess me, one from a drug rehab and one from an alcohol rehab, because the last 4 months before going into detox, I didn't have a drink because I was on the marijuana maintenance program. I was trying to get myself so stoned so that I couldn't get out of the seat and go to the pub, because there was a lot of violence in my drinking. And towards the latter years, the violence was more aimed at me than me aiming it to others. And these two counsellors came down, and one I don't remember, but I remember the particular one was because I had so many drugs and alcohol in my system, and I'd just been escaping with anything I could use. I didn't see that all I saw is I had a problem. I didn't see any difference between drug addiction and alcoholism. I'd had a problem. And this one counsellor said, if I put everything on a wall in front of you, drink, drugs, sex, food, gambling, and he listed a whole bunch of things, and he said, if there was no consequence, what would you go for first? And I went, go the alcohol. He said, okay, you're an alcoholic, you come up to our rehab. I didn't give a rat's what I was at the time. I just didn't know it, but I was reaching out for help, for somebody to do it for me because I couldn't do it myself. And that's what I still believe today is rehabs seem to be for. I was very fortunate that there was an AA member as one of the counsellors in that rehab. As much as he wasn't allowed to practice AA, he would always come in with a word or a sentence here and there, and it definitely made me think. And at times I really wanted to jab him one, because some of the stuff he said really got to me and, annoyed me, hurt me, whatever. But it made me think, and he was smart enough to just come in and go real quick. He'd just give me a quick jab and gone. And I did 5 months in that rehab, and I got physically well. And I wouldn't say mentally well, but I got some of my mental capacity back. And I watched a guy that was in the rehab with me, who I didn't quite much like, but he seemed to be getting weller and I was getting sicker, and we were doing exactly the same things. We were doing our exercises, we were fishing, we were riding push bikes and reading, watching telly, doing just about everything the same. But as I said, he was getting weller and I was getting sicker, and he was going to AA and I wasn't. And I had no idea what AA was about. So I went along with him one night to a meeting, and I don't remember who was there. I don't remember what was said. But I went back the following week. And I got questioned a bit further down the track as to why I keep coming back to that meeting. I'd only do them one a week. After I thought about it a while, I thought, because I feel a bit better when I leave. And he said, do you want to feel better twice a week? Nearly clipped him too. There was a lot of, at that time, I thought smart asses in AA, but they were actually saying stuff I needed to hear. I needed to connect with other people that thought the same as me, that had maybe had similar drinking histories. Some of the things that some people did, I'd done. Some people they did, I didn't do. Some of the stuff I did, they didn't do. But I could relate. And I had a clever bloke say to me, well, if you can relate to their drunk history, maybe you can relate to some of their recovery. Some of what they're doing might be able to help you. And I kept going, I kept listening, and I still struggled with what it was I was hearing. A lot of it wasn't memorable, and it was mostly because I had the damage done from the drink. I wasn't remembering much of anything. There was not a lot of retention in my early recovery. It's improved, but it was pretty shot in the early days. But the best thing I did in early recovery was I kept coming back. I kept an open mind, and I didn't pick up a drink. And each day added to another day. Then it became a week, and then a week. All the weeks mounted up, and I got months, and months became years. All the way along, I'm re-educating. I had a chap say to me one time, because I'm a tradie, he said, how long did it take you to learn your trade? I said, apprenticeship was about 5 years. He said, well, spend 5 years working on yourself. And I thought, it makes sense, like I start off not knowing much of anything, and in 5 years' time, I would have learnt the trade on myself. I've kept sticking around. And I know today that because of all the things that I have experienced through my drinking history, I know today that people will relate to what it is I'm saying. Not everybody, but some people will relate to something that I say. And therefore, if I've been able to stay sober one day at a time for some years now, then so can you. There is hope. If you're questioning whether you're an alcoholic, just do the simple things of keep coming back and don't pick up a first drink and keep an open mind and see what comes about. That's it from me for now. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Ivan, for the great share. Now a little extra.
Hi, my name's Shane. I'm an alcoholic.
My name's John and I'm an alcoholic.
My name's Jane.
Jack's my name.
Hi, I'm Claire.
Hi, my name's Paul and I'm an alcoholic.
We would drink until the early hours of the morning, and then get hungover the following day and then get up and do it all again, go out to a lunchtime session and continue on. And I remember cracking a beer at about 6 o'clock in the morning as we went out, and Saturdays were totally wiped out because that was our drinking day, and that's what we did, and we did a lot of it.
When I found alcohol, it gave me the biggest, thrill, excitement. I loved the taste of it and I loved the effect of it. I didn't have to think anymore and I could bury the pain underneath it all.
I joined a company that your expense account was basically unlimited and you got into trouble if you didn't use it. So I drank it like most people, and I made sure that I was trusted, because if you drank, you were trusted.
I'm a person that should never ever have picked up the first drink. I'd seen what alcohol had done to destroy my father as a practicing alcoholic. The one thing that I remember about his drinking is the fear that I experienced when he drank. He was just so unpredictable. And I vowed and declared from a very young age that I would never ever drink like my father. I knew from my very first drink that it had a profound effect on me. I felt differently after I'd had that first drink.
Can't remember much of the night except for sitting on a church door talking to a frog
And I remember my mum took me as well to see the Divinals when I was about 14, and she even bought me drinks at the Lismore Workers Club, and that's just how I was brought up.
I used to line up a couple of glasses at 12 o'clock on the bar, and I'd have 2 straight shots of, well, I guess it doesn't really matter what it was, but I'd have them there, and a double Scotch and Coke. And I used to wait until midday before I'd put them straight down. And that was me. I wasn't an alcoholic because I could wait till midday. That was just one of the thousands of excuses I had for my behaviour and for my drinking.
And not only admitted I was an alcoholic, I accepted the fact that I was an alcoholic.
I tried so many times to get rid of those things that were causing me issues, but I didn't know how to do it, you know. I tried the church, I tried going and confessing to a priest, and I tried all sorts, and nothing happened.
I got a sponsor who agreed to help me through the steps, and I did that step 1 completely and honestly. I should never have to go back and change anything about that first step.
When did I realise that my life had become unmanageable? I think for me, actually coming into AA and listening to that first member who came to my house and shared with me and going through and doing the steps. And he said to me, look and see where your life has become unmanageable. And in so many areas my life had become unmanageable. I would say each day, I am not going to go to the bottle shop. And I swear every day, my car drove itself to the bottle shop, and I would go to the bottle shop and I would get a couple of bottles of whatever, and I would continue to drink. I used to sit on my kitchen floor, as I had done a lot throughout my drinking. My kitchen floor was always a place that I would sit and get smashed on, and I would go over all the awful things that had happened to me and what I didn't have, and woe is Claire, you know.
Somebody saved me throughout the years of my drinking, 25 years of it, and I don't know how I wasn't killed, run over, damaged. Something was watching me, something was watching over me, I believe, and I always seemed to make it home, and I always seemed to be okay.
As soon as I walked in the AA room, I saw God on the wall and all these people smiling, and I was thinking, oh my God, they've got to be on something, this has got to be some sort of cult. And they were being so nice to me, and no one had been nice to me for so long, and at the end they wanted to hold my hand and chanting this weird stuff about God and trying to take my money, and I'm like, no, this is so not for me. So I got the lady that took me to the meeting, I got her to drop me off at my pretend friend's house near the pub so I could go to the pub, and I got drunk straight away. Went home and my husband goes, geez, AA was good for you too, wasn't it?
I used to go to church, you know, and then Dad passed away, so I figured that God had taken my father away and he was a prick, and so I didn't want nothing to do with him. But today I have a power greater than me, and it serves me well.
When my sponsor explained to me that it was a moral inventory of both negative and positive aspects of my life, I never believed that I had too much positiveness in my life at that time. Everything was negative, you know. We sat down and we started to write out some of this, as much as of the past as I could, both negative and positive. And I found that as bad as it was, it probably wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
I felt like I was not contributing anything. I felt like I was worthless. And at that time I thought the world would be a better place if I wasn't in it, you know. And Tony would say to me, you don't even keep the place clean. And I remember thinking, nobody ever comes to visit me, you know, so why should I keep the place clean? I was frightened to answer the door, I was frightened to answer the telephone. I lived in this little world with myself and my son, and and it wasn't a nice place to be.
Step 4 was very difficult because I had a lot of people to make amends to. People I'd hurt in the family, people I'd hurt outside the family.
I done step 4 times. The last time I did it, I finally understood what it meant, because I wasn't cleaning out all the nasties out of the cupboard. The last time I did it, it was a thorough job.
Once I'd realised that I couldn't do this myself, then I began to accept the help. And it took me months to get through my list, to put it together. I didn't realise there was so much there.
Tried doing it on my own for 6 weeks and I couldn't. I was just going even crazier. I need someone to help me. No one understands. You probably don't want to talk to me after me ditching you last time, but she was so happy to hear from me, and it was then that I really listened to what she had to say, and I was ready. I was 100% committed to wanting to be sober and to live a new life, and I was ready to do anything. I would have done push-ups if she told me to.
2.5 hours and a lot of pain. And then on to step 5, and that's when the pain started to be released.
By the end of step 5, it was like I was walking on a cloud, you know. It was amazing. I just felt so light and so free.
And he was a person who was a member of this fellowship, and more importantly, he was a member that I trusted. I didn't want my behaviour to be broadcast around the community or around through AA, and I felt as though that I could trust this person not to do that.
Talking to someone else about this, I had to ask him if he was ready, not if I was ready. That was one big list, but I was ready too, and I desperately wanted to have God remove all those defects of character. Desperately wanted that. I needed that.
And it wasn't that anybody else knew, it was just that I knew. And I picked up a drink again and I just went right back from where I had come. You know, nothing had changed. All the misery, all the lying, the deceit, all of that came straight back. The bedwetting, the whole lot, you know, and it was awful.
Injure them or others. And I was talking to a chap who had a lot of years up, 27 years up sobriety up, and he said to me, "Listen here, you silly young bastard. You're one of the others, so you don't tell somebody that you went and jumped the fence and balked their missus, because you're going to get a flogging out of it. You've got to remember that you are one of the others." And it says when they injure them or others, and that doesn't mean physical pain. It could be mental. It could be anything.
I had nowhere else to go. You know, I knew that I could not do it on my own. And I moved down to Melbourne, and after 10 months, I eventually came back into AA. And I asked somebody to be my sponsor, and they took me through the steps. And that's where I've stayed, one day at a time since then, you know, and it is just a fantastic place to be in. I would not swap it for the world.
There are some people that I haven't had a chance yet to make amends to, but this is what I love about this program. I am willing. I really am. And that's part of my healing process, and that's what works for me. They don't know about it. They don't even care. They're oblivious, but I'm ready. And I love this program. I love these words, except where to do so would injure them or others.
Becoming willing, I think that's the key thing. I had travelled, and a lot of these people I knew I wasn't going to meet straight away. But over the years, I have met them, you know, and I have fronted up and I have apologised in places that I needed to apologise, you know.
And so that's where my journey started with the AA program, and I've been 6 years sober now. It's the happiest I've ever been in my whole life. The fog lifted finally after a couple of years, and another couple of years I started to embrace life and just live life to the fullest. AA taught me to live one day at a time, and that's what really got me.
My life is just tremendous. It's given me back the love and respect of a couple of kids that I so richly deserve to lose, you know. And it's given me a tremendous way of life. And as good as my life is today, as good as it is, I don't delude myself that I'm cured. It's all still out there waiting for me for the price of one drink. If I pick up one drink, I'll go back far further than I've ever been in my life. And I honestly believe that I would never get back to this fellowship. My life would be very short-lived if I ever decide to wander away and do it my way.
I'm probably not that good at taking personal inventory, but I have some amazing friends who will help me do it. They're very quick to point out these things I need to work on. And that's just, again, another thing I love about the program. The people just helping you every step of the way. What more could you possibly want to get your life back together?
I have reached a calm and a quietness that I never ever thought that I would reach. And it is absolutely beautiful. I know that there's been times when I have been struggling with certain things, and I've struggled and struggled and struggled. And then suddenly this calm has come over me, and you know, I felt that it'll be all right kind of feeling, and it has been all right.
The main thing is I haven't had to pick up a drink to lessen the pain. And when I get that humble feeling, I feel better within myself.
Life has changed. I can live life without alcohol. Life is fun. I now have joy back. I don't want to suicide anymore. I take care of myself, and it's one day at a time. And it's the best I can do.
Today I have a great family and I have great friends, and I don't have the need to go out and drink. So for that I'm truly grateful.
The only time that I think drink, and it's not about having a drink, is when I get overtired. And you people have educated me to the fact that I shouldn't allow myself to get overtired, over thirsty or over hungry. But sometimes I do. And if I get overtired, you know, I start to think, if you walk past a pub or a club or a dive and you get the waft of that stale booze that comes out of those places, you hear the clinking of the glasses and the murmur of those highly intelligent conversations. And I know that I'm in trouble when I'm in that frame of mind. So it's not rocket science. You people have educated me to the fact that I go home, have a lie down, regroup and start again.
I don't really know how else to say it other than the fact that this program has saved my life. It's given me hope again. It's given me belief. It's given me happiness, friends. My family have come back into my life. Things are just happening now that are even better than I even dreamed were possible. True. And I truly believe 100% without a doubt that it is because of this program, because of these 12 steps, that has made for me a life, and a life worth living. And for that, I will just forever be grateful.
Yeah, AA just really changed everything for me, and to have such a great sponsor to take me through the steps and to guide me at the beginning was just amazing, because I definitely couldn't do it on my own.
It's just a tremendous way of life, and I owe it all to Alcoholics Anonymous.
We have local meetings for the full week in the local area. Monday's Gala meeting at 8 o'clock. Tuesday is Elizabeth East at 8 o'clock. Wednesday is Elizabeth East at 8 o'clock. Thursday is Two Wells at 8 o'clock. And Friday is Salisbury at 8 o'clock. There's a meeting at Deveron Park at 12 o'clock. And on Sunday there's a meeting in Salisbury at 7 o'clock. And many other meetings in the area. For details of your local meetings, please phone 1300 22 2222. And once again, if anyone you know is struggling with alcohol issues, please call Alcoholics Anonymous on 1300 22 2222. The website is aasouthaustralia.org.au.